Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Matthew Answers the Internet, the show where I, with a bunch of your help, endeavour to answer all of the internet's burning board game questions. The board gaming internet's got questions, and I tell you what, I think I got the gumption to answer them. At least, here I am. So, our first question this month is, where do you stand on getting rid of board game boxes? Ah, yes. I'm glad you asked. I can feel the backlash now. But welcome to my stack of, my stack of games that is no longer in the original board game boxes. I love this so much. You might think, well, what games are in here? Look, Through the Desert, I think. Celtis, Noveg, something German, and a couple others, Family Inc., Spectaculum. This is Las Vegas Royale, and they're just making a new version of Las Vegas, which I saw. Very exciting, love this game, and a bunch of others. But look, I'm all for getting rid of board game boxes. The main reason for it is because it saves space, and I live in the world which has dimensions necessitating space, which is unfortunate. I'd like to just put them all into a small pocket dimension and just grab them when I need them, but I can't do that. So space is a huge part of board games. So if I can save space, that's great. But how do I decide personally what games get, I'm going to say upgraded, but you might believe demoted into a board game little, it's a paper wallet. It's plastic paper storage. This is the Hanging Gardens, an underrated gem of a game, which I love very much. The reason that I choose games to fall into this new category of you're going in the boo box is older games where as soon as a box of mine has got damage on it, then I'm getting rid of it. The box is gone. I'm putting it in one of these. Or I had a few games that were stored in the attic for a while. Don't do that, would be my first suggestion. Just saying. But the boxes came out a little bit gross, I guess would be the best word for it. And I was like, I don't want to put these now next to my other games. So I kind of, decanted them into these plastic boxes. And I like them a lot. And do you know what? This is funny. The more I've done it, the more I think, I should do it to all my games. The first step was hard. Breaking up the box and putting it in the recycling. But then it got easier. I feel like an assassin. The first one's hard, but then it gets easier. You grow numb to the terror. So yeah, I'm all for it. Getting rid of board game boxes is great, I think. I've also seen people use photo, it's a plastic box, and inside the plastic box there's lots of little plastic boxes for photographs. Hold on, I'll show you. Oh gosh. One of these, and inside here, it's little games, and I'm hoping to fill this up. And I'll have 16 games in this box, saving me quite a lot of space. The problem is, of course, is that once you've decanted a game into a little box, it does lose all of its resale value. I can't put this online really and say, hey, anyone want to buy the Hanging Gardens? Most people are going to go, sans la box? And I'm going to say yes in French. So the deciding factor for me that really makes a game go into a box, which I'm just all for, I think it's great, is it a game that's probably a forever game in my collection? So I'm all for getting rid of game boxes when needed. I'm looking for something that is exactly like this. Can you help me? I am the internet. I have a question. I'm looking for something that's exactly like this that will fit a Ticket to Ride sized map in it. Like a 30 centimeter squared board. So I need something like this that's square, I guess. Because I tell you what, the second I find one that's square, I'm going to be breaking a lot of boxes. How about you? What do you think? Is this sacrilege? I was almost nervous to talk about it. I know people aren't going to be happy. And what do you do? Do you think getting rid of the board game boxes is sacrilege? How about if, it's got to be done? because sometimes it has to be done, and the box is being destroyed by the elements or by a child, you know? So what do you think? Let me know. But before we get on to the next question, you better believe we've got a word from the sponsor who, in part, helped make this episode possible.
Merchants of Play is a digital board game app built directly inside Discord, and it features some of your favorite tabletop games, all for free. Using your desktop, you can jump in and get started instantly, and when you do, you can host real-time game nights or use async mode to play at your own pace with players taking turns as they're able. You'll be able to discover fan favorites and fresh new titles without paywalls, downloads, or new accounts. Just you, your friends, and a growing catalog of beautifully rendered board games. Merchants of Play is a community built around games, a place for friends to connect, gaming circles to expand, and for players to try before they buy. Whether you're introducing a favorite game to a friend across the world, sampling a title before buying, or bonding with your favorite Discord community, you'll find that Merchants of Play is your invitation to come play. Even better, they work directly with the publishers to obtain a licensing agreement and final approval before a game's release on their platform, ensuring they meet the publisher's standards and expectations. It's smooth, social, and seamless. Who doesn't love alliteration? So follow the link in this video's description to find out more about Merchants of Play and to get started. Play awaits.
The next question, and I'm just going to pop these up here to frustrate everyone. Enough about gateway games. What was the first complex game that really hooked you? I like gateway games, but I'm a medium to low to medium Euro board gamer. That's the kind of game I enjoy. Games that are quick. In fact, gateway games are what I like because they're quick, they're fun, they're often very good because they have to appeal to lots of people. I do have distinct memories of those specific heavier games that when you go, oh, board games are a bit good, aren't they? And I have some really strong memories of those games. And I know that we can argue until the cows come home. What is a gateway game? What isn't a gateway game? I get it, fine, that's absolutely okay. But here are the complex games that got me they got their hooks into me. Like a Mortal Kombat villain. Some of these I've spoken about many, many times. Power Grid. I remember the first time I played Power Grid, just the colours of the board, just the feel, what was going on, how I was like, I've got to think about this, and then I've got to power these stations, and then I've got to have enough money left over to, to buy stuff and make tracks, essentially, make connections. I was like, oh, this is so good. And Power Grid really got it. I was like, I like this. That feeling. Oh, it's one of the best feelings in the world when you go, ooh, oh, I like this. This is, us board gamers know what that feeling is. And it's so delicious. It's wonderful. Oh my God, the first time I played Trajan, I was like, Mancala's ace. Anyone else heard of this? It's so fun. Trajan with the Mancala mechanism and then all the different mini games essentially around the board. And I'm like, oh, I can soup up my power. I can kind of create my own little engine of, I'm going to do this action really well. That was such a fun experience. 3 others that really super just cemented my love for board games are Viticulture, which was for a very long time my favourite game. I remember playing that and thinking, gosh, this gives me such a great feeling. This isn't just the puzzle, this isn't just the game, this game itself is giving me a wonderful feeling. I didn't know that was possible with board games because I love the bucolic nature of the game, and I think it's just pastoral and wonderful and calm in a very stressful way. And then I think about At the Gate of Loyang, which is getting a reprint, isn't it? I saw an announcement for a reprint of At the Gate of Loyang, Trick or Treat Studios, or Games, that company, something. Vincent Dutray art I saw, and then I went to check again, disappeared. It went Kaiser Soze and went into the ether. Anyone get that reference? But I remember the first time I played At the Gates of Loyang, and because I bounced off a few of Uwe Rosenberg's other games, but I played At the Gates of Loyang with my brother, and we both went, man, this is ace. It's so good. There's like a bucolic part of the game where you're planting crops. And oh, I've got so much pumpkin. I've got so many pumpkins now. This is great. And then the next part of the game where you go, I have so many customers who are desperately angry at me, and I wanted the points, and I'm kind of throwing good money after bad here. Brilliant. And that game, I think is a pretty complex game. It's a pretty mid to upper weight Euro, especially for the time. And the final one is Le Granja. Le Granja, again, gave you that wonderful feeling, and it's a big old game, multi-use cards. You've got a hand of cards, but each card is 4 cards, and you've got to work out what you're doing. And in that one, you are creating your own engine in a very specific and unique way. And no engine is going to be the same from game to game even. It's a heavy game, but I put the effort in and I definitely felt like I got the reward out of it. And that's what's wonderful about these bigger games. You know, that more so than the gateway games, which are just fun for fun. And that's why I like games, because they're fun. But there is a satisfaction you can get out of those bigger games when you first play them and you go, oh, I've learned this and now I'm getting it and I'm learning, I'm getting better at this. That is a separate level of enjoyment that I think is possible with those bigger games. And it's not the challenge I want every time I play a game. Sometimes I want to be not thinking. I just want to be having fun. You know, I want to think a bit when it's my turn and go, I'm going to put 2 trains here. You know, that's fun. That's why I love Ticket to Ride. It's one of my all-time favorites. One of the complex, the medium heavy games, they don't have to be Euros. I'm fine. We don't discriminate against like the Ameritrash games. All right? If that's what you want to do. No, we don't. What are the heavier games that you enjoy that kind of went, this is a different level of the board game hobby and I'm enjoying this. What are those games for you? And finally, we've got a question that it's far too early to ask, because that is the inevitable, what were the best games of 2025? The problem is that it's December. And I say this every time, I've not played, no one has played all the games from 2025. I've got some friends, you don't know that that's not true. Nick and Mike Murphy from the Brothers Murph, and they're on this mission to play 100 games from this year. 100 2025, and they like big old Euros. Gross. 100 games from this year? I don't think I've played 100 games from this year. It's too early to tell, is essentially, but we can say so far, I suppose. General Orders Sengoku Jedi, which is this is a sequel to General Orders, which is the World War II one. That game is a little war game. I could put it in this. I could put it in one of these. Would it fit? The challenge. That game is a little war game that packs a punch in a small box. It's like, wow, this feels like a full war game, and I'm not a war gamer per se. Although it's a battle when I'm at the table. I like to think. That's a great little game. I think that's definitely a contender for me. I really enjoyed that, and I think the surprise part of how much I enjoyed it plays a part into that. Secondly, we've got Emberleaf, which is from the City Isle of Cats producers, City of Games. And Emberleaf looks wonderful. It is another game with anthropomorphic animals. That certainly is a trend that sticking around in it, that one. That trend's not going anywhere. And I tell you what, I like it. I like anthropomorphic animals. I like cute little animals. That's fine. But this is a card game of really working out an order of events. You know, you've really got to think about how you're playing cards down and how they're going to activate and all sorts. It's like a card dancing game. But I think that's a fantastic game that came out this year. The next game I think was fantastic from this year is from my favourite designer, Rainer Knizia, and that was called Orbit. Bitewing Games were on a tear this year with things. They made some reprints of some Knizia games, but Orbit is a brand new Knizia game. And I tell you what, breaks your brain a little bit, because you're working out how things are moving around on a board, and you're trying to collect things, and then you play a card and everything moves, and you go, oh no, that's my Orbit has gone awry. But that one I thought was fantastic. The next one is Positano. Is it Positano? I always say Positano. Yeah, Positano. It's over there. That's a great game from Slugfest Games. Who would have thought Slugfest? I actually messaged people at Slugfest Games and went, are you sure this was your game? And they were like, yeah, we're branching out. I said, go for it. Branch out. Positano is great. That's a gateway game. Really, it's an auction game where you're trying to bid on 4 things at the same time with 2 cards. It's It's tough. It gives you a great decision. You're building up these great big plastic pieces, building up the house fronts and trying to block off other people's views. I love that game. It reminds me very much of my favorite game from the previous year, which was Cities. It really does remind me of Cities. It does a similar kind of weight and enjoyment and tactile nature to the game, and that's why I love Cities so much, and that's why I've really enjoyed Positano. Then I've got two bigger, heavier games, and again, I'm not the bigger, heavier gamer, but this year feels to me like it's been a year of bigger games that I've enjoyed, and that is Quayside, which is the sequel, well, it's another game in the Key series of games with Keyflower and Cathedral and Keydom and Keywood and Keyflow and Key Forge. That's probably not right. That last one's a lie. I'm going to have to put all the graphics up for all those games now I've said them, haven't I? I've played myself here. Quayside is, it's got to be the heaviest installment in this series. There's a lot going on. You go, okay, there's 12 different places you're going to score for this, and I've got 8 different keys, and I also 6 different keys I want to score, and these are also going to score. I'm going to score for each of these different tracks. There's a lot going on here, and I do think if you put the effort in, you will be rewarded for it, which I think is very important with these bigger games. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it might be unbelievably good. I just think it's stunning as a game. And the last game I think is in my contender so far for Game of the Year would be The Druids of Edora, which is the new Stefan Feld game that nobody talked about, and it just kind of came out. It just blindsided everyone, I feel like. Normally a new Stefan Feld game coming out is a huge deal. But because it wasn't kickstarted or a reprint, or now it's a different city name, which is very confusing, The Druids of Edora is just a brand new game, and it's a dice-driven game with some tense decisions and not the best rulebook in English. I'll be honest, the rulebook kind of sucks. I wish they could have, I don't know, done a better job with it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's not as terrible as some people have been saying, and now there's some videos out there which certainly help. Yeah, The Druids of Edora is fantastic. It's a meaty Euro with very simple bits, lots of different simple bits all together that all mean ramifications for each other. But what's my game of the year? And how many games have I not spoken about that you've gone, I can't believe you've not mentioned this game? Trust me, the reason I've not mentioned it is I have not played it. But I do want to know what your picks are below. I'll buy them. I'm here in the hobby. I can't stop now. I'm too far gone. Tell me what the games that you enjoyed are. If I had to pick, I don't know if I could pick one. If I had to pick one, Quayside might be it for me this year. I think all of these games have been excellent, but for me so far this year, Quayside I think is my favourite game of the year. I would have to play, to be perfectly honest, all of these games that I've mentioned. I'm looking at my list. I would need to play them more. That's the problem. I've only played, most of these games I've played once, and they've left a great impression on me, but I've only played them once because I don't get a chance to play games as much as I want. But who knows what repeat plays would be, but I know there's so much variation in the way Quayside plays out and the way it all sets up, because it's completely variable, the way kind of the board is produced. For me so far, Quayside, I think, is my favourite game of the year. That's everything from this year from Matthew Answers the Internet. I appreciate you so much. I hope you have a great festive season. Merry Christmas. It's coming. Oh God. Has it been? Don't actually know when this video's falling. So I hope you had a good time. If not, thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you've got any questions, comments, or anything that you can add to the questions that have been posed to us all this month, then I would love to hear what you have to say below. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful end of your year.